released the inertial platform. That is the platform which is used for the guidance and navigation of the launcher. So it's stored in the equipment bay, just right underneath the satellite. So in the upper composite.
So those arms are going to be disconnected, pulled back at 5.5 seconds before liftoff?
Right. We're going to see that. That's quite impressive. That's quite an impressive image when they come back. These huge arms come back. But, you know, they are there to fill up the upper stage with oxygen and nitrogen.
Well, closing in again on the last minute of the countdown, and we welcome everybody around the world viewing the live webcast of the 189th Ariane mission on www.arianespace.com. I'm Harry Thibodeau. He's Dirk Mueller.
Yep.
It's going to happen this time, right?
I hope so. I bet on.
Okay, everybody's going outside. You're going with them, so
I will try again and take a picture.
Okay, go enjoy it.
Okay.
That was the announcement from the DDO that we have entered the final minute of the countdown. We are green. We've been here before, and this time we're going to make it, my friends. Everybody is moving outside to watch the launch from the patio. And again, we're about 12, 13 kilometers, something like that, from the launch pad. I remain inside. I've seen this before, and it's phenomenal. But I tell you, as I said before, over 1 million man-hours worth of work on TerreStar-1, all of the work from everybody here, all coming together. We're in the final 20 seconds. Here is the famous countdown.
À tous de l'EDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Top. Allumage Vulcain. Allumage des étages d'accélération à poudre et décollage. Les paramètres bord sont normaux.
Awesome. The Ariane 5 ECA has roared into the skies above Kourou. This is my third launch. It takes my breath away every time. Dirk has already come back in. What do you think, man?
Oh, that was just amazing. The sound, this light, that is really something. That is 1,350 tons of thrust that boosts this amazing machine into the sky. About the same as 8 Airbus 380, the biggest commercial plane in the world, taking off.
Okay, we've broken the sound barrier, and now it is starting to rumble here at Jupiter. This gigantic building is shaking as the Ariane 5 roars into orbit above us, and I'll tell you, it is absolutely one powerful machine, and it's still rumbling this building, and it's a huge building.
You feel that? Yes, that is, each booster is consuming 2.5 tons per second of solid propellant, and the Vulcain 2 engine is burning 320 kilograms per second of liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen.
And it's still roaring here. That green screen has been replaced now by a chart with a moving dot. What's that representing?
The curve on the left shows the trajectory and the predicted trajectory profile, and the moving dot is the current position of Ariane 5. Just below we have the V. The V stands for the velocity, and then we have the A. That stands for the altitude. So we are doing quite fine, and we couldn't be better.
Okay, just over 2 minutes, all is well. In a matter of seconds, we will see the burnout and the jettison of the twin solid rocket boosters. That should happen at about the 2-minute and 20-second mark into the mission. And we'll hear the call out. And that will be coming up, and there we see the animation. And Dirk, the boosters have done their job.
There is the confirmation from the DDO. We have the separation of the boosters, so the boosters have done their job, and we don't need them anymore. In order to avoid any collision, the boosters are distanced by little rockets from the core stage. The mass of the launcher is now 180 tons, and so we lost 600 tons in about a couple of minutes.
Wow, I'd love to lose weight like that. Those boosters are now going to fall back into the Atlantic. On this flight, we're not going to recover them. 256 and all is well in the mission with Ariane 5. We see the fairing is still on there. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the fairing will be gone in a few seconds. It has protected TerreStar-1 on ground before launch. It protects it. And there it is. This confirmed we had the separation of the fairing. So we have now 2 tons less, and there we see the fantastic movies from one of the last launches when the fairing just dropped into the Atlantic.
That's right, and they will drop down into the Atlantic. Are we technically in space? We're at 122 kilometers.
Yeah, we are. Technically, we are in space, and we are above all of Earth's atmosphere, and there's no friction anymore.
And there's no birds?
No birds? Well, we will not end up in the Hudson River, don't worry.
Well, that's good to hear. Does the fairing burn up on re-entry, or did it go back down the Atlantic?
It will drop into the Atlantic, as I was saying, and of course Air and Space knows very well where it comes down, and so we have warned all the planes and ships to stay away from that area.
Already 4 minutes into the mission, Ariane 5 is right on track for a perfect flight. Again, history being made as TerreStar-1, the largest commercial communications satellite ever launched, continues to move its way into space, and again right now 145 kilometers in altitude. Time now to hear some more news from Ariane Space.
At the 48th Paris Air Show, the French president highlighted the interest in the European space strategy, and Nicolas Sarkozy, French president, honored Ariane Space with a visit. Jean-Yves Le Gall made a presentation on the range of Ariane Space launchers to French Prime Minister François Fillon. Furthermore, Secretary Anne-Marie Idrac also participated in the air show, the most important air show in the world. On June 18th, Valérie Pécresse, French Minister of Higher Education and Research, witnessed the signing of the Gender Equality Agreement between Jean-Yves Le Gall and the representatives of Ariane Space employees. Ariane Space is very proud to play an active role in promoting professional equality between men and women.
Ariane Space signs contract with Olican Space AG for 35 Ariane 5 fairings. The company has supplied them for all 188 Ariane launchers to date. Olican will also provide the fairings for Vega. Ariane Space signs contract with RUAG Aerospace Sweden for 35 Ariane 5 payload adapters. Ariane Space and RUAG Aerospace have worked together since the beginning of the Ariane program. Ariane Space signs contract with EADS Casa Espacio for Ariane 5 payload adapters. Interstage skirts and inter-tank skirts from EADS Casa have been used on all Ariane launchers to date. Construction on the Soyuz launch facilities at CSG are making good progress for the first Soyuz mission in 2010. New elements for the construction recently arrived via boat from St. Petersburg, Russia. Located 12 kilometers from the Ariane 5 facilities, the Soyuz launch pad combines the long experience gained in Baikonur with the integration procedures provided by Ariane Space. French President Nicolas Sarkozy wishes to begin studies on the launcher generation that will replace the Ariane 5 by 2020 to 2025. In 2011, the Ministers' Conference of ESA could initiate preparation of a new, robust, modular, and competitive launcher in order to address governmental and commercial needs.
So the Vulcain 2 engine is running right now. It's produced by Snecma in Vernon, and it has a thrust of 100 tons on ground. This is huge. For example, the force developed just by the hydrogen turbopump equals 2 high-speed trains.
We just heard the DDO say propulsion normal, right?
Yeah, everything is normal.
And time now to hear from Michael Kolari, who is Ariane Space Payload Manager.
When TerreStar decided to build the world's largest communication satellite, they also had to consider launch vehicle options. And with the Ariane Space Service and Solutions, launching a satellite of over 6,900 kilos is no problem. We're capable of doing that in the single launch configuration on the ECA. This will be the first single launch on the ECA, and because of that, we went through our rigorous qualification process involving ESA, CNES, Ariane Space, and the industrial partners. With the qualification process complete, we've expanded the launch capability and the qualified domain of the Ariane 5 ECA to better serve our future customers.
And so we return. We're 8 minutes into the flight. The tracking station at Natal, Brazil, has picked up the launcher. All is going well. 173 kilometers high, 5.8 kilometers per second. Tell us more about that EPC burn.
So compared to the booster, it's not that powerful. We have 135 tons of thrust compared to 600 tons for each of the booster. Now the main stage has practically used all the propellants and will shut down soon. And it has worked now almost 9 minutes. So the DDO was saying something that the stage will burn another 25 seconds. So the next event will be the shutdown of the Vulcan 2 engine as soon the guidance estimates the intermediate orbit of the EPC being reached. And then the shutdown will be commanded by the onboard computer, and then the separation of the main stage will occur. So we're waiting for that for the moment. There it is. So there was the shutdown of the engine on the guidance command. And there was the separation of the EPC, of the main stage. And we wait now for the ignition. And there's the ignition of the upper stage. So congratulations to the Vulcan 2 engine experts, Terry Michel and Terry Magar. Great job on this campaign. So we have lost now another 14 tons as the empty EPC falls towards Earth. Now the ECA, or the upper cryogenic stage, takes over. The engine is very well known since it was already very often flying on Ariane 4 and will burn for nearly 60 minutes in order to reach the predicted orbit. So now some technical information on the ECA. It has a 4 meter, it is 4 meters 75 tall and has a diameter of 5 meter 40. Its mass is 19 tons, including propellants, and as the EPC, it works with liquid oxygen and hydrogen, reloaded 12 tons.
Already, and it is burning right now, so we're going to take a look at the TerreStar-1 satellite campaign. V-189 will be carrying TerreStar-1, the largest commercial communication satellite ever to be launched. The satellite is being launched for TerreStar Networks, a new American mobile telecommunications service operator. The satellite, TS-1, was manufactured by Space Systems L'Oreal and arrived in French Guiana May 15th by air. It was taken to the S5 building at the Guyane Space Center, the CSG, with all its associated equipment. The satellite was removed from its container and placed on its frame. Electrical tests and tank pressure tests were carried out successfully. After this initial phase, the satellite was moved to the S5A filling hall in the S5 building. Tanking operations took place between June 17th and 20th. Interface operations with the launcher began June 21st with the installation of the satellite and its adapter, and then it was transferred to the VAF, the final assembly building, in the payload container number 3. It was then assembled on the A5 launcher, and it was encapsulized in its fairing June 24th. The campaign went smoothly, thanks to the support and the availability of the teams, which I would particularly like to thank today. We are back live again at Jupiter, and we are 11 minutes 40 seconds into the flight. The upper stage performing perfectly. You see the dot is right on the line. We're 176 kilometers high, 7.3 kilometers a second. What are those key numbers, and again, what are we looking for, speed and altitude?
We're looking for somewhat about 9.56 kilometers per second, so but we should end up with somewhat about 9.4 kilometers per second. So for that we used several tracking stations, I believe.
No, we're going to be injecting into orbit at what speed? 9.4 kilometers per second.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And at 540 kilometers above the Earth, right?
That's it.
Already time for another film.
I'm here today with Tan Finney. Vice President of Satellite Services at TerreStar and the Mission Director for tonight's launch. TerreStar will be the largest commercial satellite ever launched. What features make it so big?
Well, in order for us to be able to communicate with a PDA-sized phone, we had to have the ability to provide a lot of power to that phone on the ground. And in order to do that, we needed an 18-meter antenna reflector, and we needed lots of traveling wave tubes, high-powered amplifiers on the satellite to get that signal strong enough for that PDA phone to receive it.
And after launch, what is the service provided to the customers?
The service on the ground is just like your terrestrial cell phone. We'll have our auxiliary terrestrial network, which is very similar to your existing cellular phones today, and that'll be augmented by the satellite. It'll all use the same frequency. So when you coordinate those two together, then the customer will be able to see a lot better coverage, a lot more seamless coverage with their PDA phone at speeds that you haven't been able to get over a satellite before. Once we get our Phase 3 phone in service, you'll be able to get up to 600 kilobits per second over the phone.
And this is your first time working with Ariane Space and your first time to Kourou. What impressions do you have?
I'm very impressed with Ariane Space. The professionalism of all of the people, the discipline that they use as I've watched the operations here, that all leads to the reliability that Ariane Space has, and is one of the reasons why we chose Ariane Space as our launch provider. Kourou I've enjoyed a lot. It's a wonderful country, and they've been very hospitable and helpful for us here in our visit.
Good luck with today's mission.
Thank you.
We are now closing in on the 15-minute mark of the 189th Ariane mission. This one to place TerreStar-1 into orbit. All continues to go well. 171 kilometers high, 7.8 kilometers per second. The launcher is now being tracked by a station on Ascension Island. How many stations do we use?
Actually, we use several stations. When the Ariane 5 lifts off, it was being tracked by a facility located on the mountain just to the southwest of Kourou. Then, after about 7.5 minutes, we switched to Natal, Brazil, and at the 14-minute mark, Ascension took over shortly. Libreville in Africa assumes control, and then the final tracking station for the launch phase is Malindi, also in Africa.
Alrighty, time now to take a look at the historic TerreStar-1 satellite. This is really neat.
When you launch a satellite that has changed the paradigm of how you approach telecommunications in the satellite industry, it does not come without challenges.
Tough challenges made this aerospace industry great, very robust and stable, and also a pleasure to work in. There is a say that also tough challenges make aerospace company a lot better.
TerreStar-1 is the largest and heaviest satellite that's launched to date. It weighs nearly 7,000 kilograms at launch and has a reflector that measures 18 meters across when deployed on orbit.
All of us, I think, have been on a shuttle bus going from the airport to a car rental agency, and the satellite is about as big as that shuttle bus. It's 26 feet tall, it's about 10 foot square when it's stowed for launch.
With its 18-meter unfurlable reflector, TerreStar-1 has the largest commercial reflector.
The reflector is supplied by Harris Corporation in Florida. It is stored during the launch, and once we are on orbit, it will be deployed like an umbrella that opens up.
The large reflector enables the most capable two-way mobile service ever launched, including telephone communications with a standard-sized cell phone that will work anywhere in the continental United States, Canada, Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Well, one of the uniqueness of TerreStar is that when we actually set out to design the satellite and the satellite specification, we sort of went about it in a different paradigm than has been done in the past. We looked at what the consumers were using today, what they were using in their day-to-day lives, and we said we wanted a satellite that would enable a consumer-level device to operate with a geosynchronous satellite.
The TerreStar-1 satellite works in conjunction with a ground-based beamforming system and an ancillary terrestrial component to provide next-generation 2 GHz mobile voice and data communications, monitoring, and messaging services.
A ground-based beamforming system, also provided by L'Oreal, complements the functions of the satellite in forming up to 500 narrow high-power beams. These beams enable ordinary cell phone devices, handheld cell phone devices, to be used directly through the satellite.
Let's look at the handset that we've been able to produce. So you don't see the big bulky antenna, you don't see the big brick. This is the same size as smartphones are today. This will be the first integrated terrestrial satellite smartphone in the world.
We started work on this satellite in the second quarter of 2005. It was a very challenging design to accommodate a large number of communication channels within a satellite frame that could be launched on available launch vehicles. A large number of engineers and technicians, both at Space Systems L'Oreal and our suppliers, have worked on this program. This satellite is truly a testimony for their skills and hard work and dedication.
I don't know if you can guess how many hours, man-hours were spent on this satellite, but they're actually way over 1 million throughout the time that the satellite has been designed, built, and tested. And this is only at Space Systems L'Oreal. There are over 100 key suppliers around the world, from Japan to the United States to Europe, that also have contributed to the success of this program.
Space Systems L'Oreal has done an excellent design as far as reliability and redundancy on the satellite goes. They've tested, and we are very confident that once this thing gets on orbit, it's going to operate perfectly for us.
Space Systems L'Oreal's quality and reliability that is driven from top management down is a key aspect of why we believe TerreStar Networks will be a successful company moving forward.
Of course, a special thank to the Space Systems L'Oreal employees who worked very, very hard. We're very proud to have been involved with TerreStar Networks and being able today to witness the launch of their first satellite, TerreStar-1.
We are nearing the 21-minute mark into the mission. All is perfect. We're going right down the middle,
Right.
and that's fantastic. Dirk, we're getting very close to the speed and altitude numbers we need.
Yes, Harry. The ECA has been doing its job extremely well. As I mentioned earlier, this engine has been used since the days of Ariane 4, and we know it's very well, and it's a true workhorse. It was playing a major role on the fact that Arianespace has had 31 successful Ariane missions in a row.
31, and in just over 4 minutes, we are going to be celebrating number 32. In fact, again, over 2/3 of all of the active satellites in orbit have been launched from right here at CSG in Kourou. It's a tribute to the teamwork of everybody. There we see Clay Mowry, good friend of mine, and he's the president of Arianespace USA. We welcome him here, and all of the great folks in D.C. that work with Arianespace. And anyway, it really is a great team that pulls this whole thing together,
That's a really team success at all, and no group could make it happen on its own. There's Jean-Yves Legal just right in there.
Yep, provides the overall leadership for the entire operation, and he has been a tremendous leader for the people at Arianespace.
That's true. That is really true. And
time now to take a look at one last film on our broadcast today.
After separation, about 15 minutes, we'll acquire the first telemetry signal at Nangara. And about 2 hours after that then is when we'll deploy the solar arrays. So that'll be the first day's activities for us. Then over the next week, we'll spend doing five burns to get up into orbit and a couple of trim maneuvers, and we'll be on orbit about a week after we launch. Then the first thing we'll do for TerreStar to get into to service is we'll make our first call. That's for our FCC license, and we'll do it over our PDA size handset. We'll do it over the satellite. That's going to occur about mid-July. And then we'll spend the next several months doing the final checkout with satellite IoT and our ground network checkout, and we'll be in service then towards the end of the year.
Already, I can't wait to be a beta tester on that TerreStar. I want one of those. They're going to be neat. A little over a minute to go before the extinction of the ESCA. Dirk, how do we know how much fuel is left?
We know that because we have level sensors inside the tanks on the top and on the bottom. The sensor on the top is used when we are filling the tank, so we know when to stop the filling. The ones on the bottom of the tank tells us how much LH2 and LOX is left after the shutdown of the engine. We check them after the flight, actually, and to be honest, we don't monitor them in real time. The onboard computer commands the engine to start and when to shut down. It is all done automatically, no humans are involved.
Already, and not long now before we reach the end of powered flight for B-189. Shortly we'll see that animated flame go out, and the workhorse upper stage will have done its job.
Yes, Harry, only seconds ago, before the SNAGMA engine called HM7B finished its work, we thank everyone at SNAGMA for their dedication to the Ariane program, and especially to Frederic Ladio, one of the specialists of the HM7B.
Okay, we're getting close now. How does the computer actually shut the engine down?
When the computer senses that the orbit is right, and the DDO announces it, everything is fine. So when the computer senses it, we are there where we are supposed to be. It issues to the main valves of the HN7B several orders and telling them to close. This happens in a split second.
There it is.
There it is. There
the
it is.
DDO has announced it. We have reached the end. A powered flight, and we're coasting. Dirk, we're now entering yet another critical phase. TerreStar is at the right altitude and the right speed, but now we got to get pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, to do that, we use the attitude and control system. This involves 12 thrusters, 4 clusters of 3 thrusters each, placed diametrically in opposite position, and they use gaseous hydrogen coming from the upper stage tank to provide thrust. Thanks to their thrust direction, any movement like yaw, pitch and roll is possible, and here again everything is being controlled by the onboard computer system. And once we have the upper composite in the correct orientation, we stabilize it and prepare to separate the satellite. At the last step, we give TerreStar-1 a transfer spin of 1 degree per second. This is done by tilting the upper composite by commanding the attitude and control system, and everything is fine. The DDO just announced that.
And we're almost there, so just tell us very quickly, we just pop it out with some springs, right?
Yeah, that's right. We just pop it out with 8 springs that release the satellite. As soon the clamp band on the satellite is cut by power cutters. And again, happens at an exact moment determined by the inertial platform and commanded by the onboard computer.
Okay, several people's hearts are pounding very, very hard right now. There's Jeff Epstein, the head of TerreStar Networks, and we're about to hear an announcement from the DDO. It will not be long now before we hear the famous words about TerreStar-1.
Exactly.
And again,
Séparation de TerreStar.
There it is.
Look at the fist pumps go in the air, the cheers, the handshakes. As Clay Mowry and Jeff Epstein shaking hands. And man, there are a lot of people's hearts that were in their mouths wondering if this was going to happen today with as many reds as we had.
Yeah.
And man, just watching those fists pump into the air were amazing. They knew all that work had been successful.
Yeah, that was really a moment. So we have it done. We did it. So TerreStar-1 is in the orbit.
Wow, what's happening? The last thing?
Yeah, the last thing to do is now the distancing maneuver between the upper composite and the TerreStar-1. So that is done again by the attitude and control system, which is using hydrogen, gaseous hydrogen. So we see the animation there.
Yep.
So we distance the upper composite from the satellite in order that they pump into each other.
Okay. I tell you, there are some very exciting people. Here's a replay of the launch coming up in just a moment. You'll get a chance to see that, but just all of the work and effort that went into everybody on this thing. And man, in 1 second, hearing those words, separation TerreStar, everybody was thrilled, and you see just all the handshakes.
Yeah, so people are really happy. Everybody's happy about it. So there are many parties tonight in Kourou, and I guess as well in the US and in Europe. So there are several parties here, 2 or 3 parties down here. So we open some bottles of champagne tonight, do we?
I bet we will. And again, we're going to go to the replay right now.
Allumage des étages d'accélération en poudre et décollage. Les paramètres bord sont normaux.
And as we return to Jupiter here in Kourou, you just saw number 32 in a row successful Ariane 5 launch, and 189 Ariane vehicles have now been placed off the pad from here in Kourou. So I'll tell you, the incredible leadership globally of Arianespace just continues. There we see some of the officials from TerreStar.
And I just heard that we have another replay coming on.
There we go.
There it is.
Allumage des étages d'accélération en poudre et décollage.
So now we come back to the Gulf.
Right. Well, as you have just seen, Ariane 5 ECA has just placed TerreStar-1 on its geostationary transfer orbit. And obviously, I'm very happy to share this new success with you. It's our 31st success in a row. It's the 3rd in 2009. And I think it shows us perfectly that high performance and reliability can go hand in hand. Placing this commercial satellite, which weighs more than 7 tons, the biggest to ever have been launched, has taken place merely 2 months after Herschel and Planck were placed on their orbits. So I think Ariane 5 once again has shown us that it has the real capacity to cover a whole range of missions, launching commercial satellites, very heavy ones, but also very complex scientific missions. I would particularly like to thank Mr. Jeff Epstein for his trust and his confidence, and also the board of TerreStar, which has given us the pleasure of being here with us today. And I would like to welcome them particularly as the 29th new Arianespace client. TerreStar has got a very impressive furlable antenna, 18 meters in diameter, and it's going to revolutionize telecommunications over North America. And Arianespace is particularly proud to be associated with this sort of project, which would allow our clients to be one step ahead. I would also like to congratulate our friends from Space Systems Loral that built TerreStar-1. In fact, it's their 34th satellite that has been launched by Arianespace and built by Space Systems Loral. And I know that Pat DeWitt is watching from Palo Alto. I'd like to say hello to him, and also John Shelley, and also Mr. Andy Tillman, who is here with us today. And finally, I would like to thank all those who have made this success possible. All the European countries and the European Space Agency for their continuous support. CNES, of course, that has developed Ariane 5 and has made it possible to be launched from the CSG here. We've seen this in a perfect way today. Risks were managed in an extremely knowledgeable and careful manner today. I think we had an illustration of this. And I'd like to thank all our industrial partners in Europe and in French Guiana. All those who are watching us in Paris, in Muron, Aquitaine, Vernon, Bremen, Augsburg, Colleferro, and elsewhere, all of you have contributed to building this exceptional launcher. Congratulations to all of you. And I would also like to thank the Ariane Space teams. The work that you carry out every day between the launches and during the launches is extremely impressive. We've had 3 launches this year, which is fantastic. We've got 4 ahead of us. Fantastic work. Congratulations. And I would like to say that obviously it is sometimes nerve-wracking to go through these sort of launches, but once again, congratulations. Let me now give the floor to Mr. Jeff Ustream.
Nerve-wracking. I guess 3 times is the charm. But I just wanted to say, as my heart is still pounding a little bit, I want to say hi to everybody, obviously in Reston, at TerreStar Networks in Richardson, in Ottawa. This obviously couldn't have occurred without many, many people involved, Ariane Space, Loral, Hughes, just to name a few. We obviously are deeply appreciative of their efforts. What you just witnessed is just the culmination of, as you heard on the video, millions of hours of advanced technology and satellite deployment here, and it's truly remarkable to watch, especially sitting in this chair and trying it for 3 times. Real briefly, and I know you probably have heard this, we did just now we launched the world's largest satellite. It wasn't the world's largest commercial satellite ever to be deployed. It's now deployed, and we will continue to go through in-orbit testing over the next couple months to bring service to North America, because again, we needed such a large satellite to close to a handset this small, and this is an actual handset you saw in the video. So we're extremely excited about everything, obviously what happened today, but this is really just the beginning of the story for TerreStar. It's been several years in the making. We're extremely proud to be here, and we look forward to continuing the story. Please follow us. I know we have our 2nd satellite being built by Loral, and we will continue to move forward. And I just want to thank everyone on behalf of our shareholders and our board and our employees. Thanks very much.
Right, so once again, congratulations and thank you. Now, obviously, the fact that we have a single launch means that we can celebrate faster. So I suggest that before we started the launch, I said that we had 35 satellites to be launched. This is the case because we've just agreed with Aventi to launch a satellite in 2010, and it's on the 22nd of July that we're signing that contract in July. So that means 11 new contracts for 2009. So as it's only the 1st of July, I think that's pretty good. Anyway, we'll be meeting again middle of August. It seems to be a regular feature because we did this last year, the year before that, and the year before that too. And it's going to be a new mission. This time we'll be serving our Asia-Pacific region customers because it's JCSat-12 for Japan and Optus D3 for Australia. Right. Thank you once again to all of you, and see you next month. Bye-bye.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top, allumage Vulcain. Allumage des étages d'accélération à poudre et décollage. Allumage des étages d'accélération à poudre et décollage. Les paramètres bord sont normaux. allumage des étages d'accélération en poudre et décollage.
Well, Dirk, any way you look at it, that was one phenomenal launch.
It was really exciting, and with all the errors we had that we made it, I'm really excited about it. It's really something. So we demonstrated once more that Europe is capable to launch, and is capable and has the knowledge to launch satellite into orbit.
Well, we certainly want to thank you for all of the work on it. It's been really fun.
Thank you.
I'm Harry Thibodeau. Thank you very much, Dirk.
And I'm
We'll
Dirk
do it
Miller,
again.
And we try next time again.
Absolutely. Goodbye from Kourou and our great success.
And goodbye.